In the crucible of Detroit's East Side, where hope often wilted beneath the weight of steel-hard realities, a young boy named Chris Webber dared to dream. With eyes that burned like coals and a heart as vast as the Great Lakes, he would defy the odds and rise from the ashes of despair, becoming an icon in a sport that thrived on larger-than-life figures. Born March 1, 1973, Mace Edward Christopher Webber Roman III was destined for greatness. A prodigious talent who could bend the arc of basketball with the slightest flick of his wrist, Chris's dreams were as boundless as the night sky, his ambitions limitless. But the road to glory would be paved with struggle, sacrifice, and a tenacity that would test the very core of his being. In the shadows of the Motor City's towering factories, Chris found solace in the game's simple beauty. Basketball was more than just a diversion. It was a sanctuary, a place where he could lose himself in the rhythm of the court, the swish of the net, and the boundless potential that lay within his grasp. Yet, beneath the glossy veneer of success, Chris would face challenges that would shake the foundations of his world and challenge the very essence of who he was. As we embark on this journey through the life of an American legend, let us not forget that the greatest triumphs often emerge from the fiercest storms. Let us bear witness to Chris Webber's unwavering spirit, his indomitable will, and the resilience that would carry him through the darkest nights, emerging on the other side, forever a beacon of hope for those who dared to dream. In the heart of Detroit, Michigan, nestled within the labyrinth of narrow streets and towering industrial structures, emerged a prodigious talent named Mace Edward Christopher Webber Roman III. Born on March 1, 1973, he was affectionately known as C-Web. His story, much like the city from which it sprung, was a testament to resilience, grit, and raw ambition. C-Web's roots were deeply entrenched in the rich soil of Detroit's African-American community, where the scent of soul food wafted through the air, and the laughter of children echoed off dilapidated brick walls. His parents, Mace S.R. and Denise, hailed from a lineage of survivors and dreamers. They had known hardship, endured poverty, and fought tooth and nail for every opportunity they were afforded. Growing up, C-Web witnessed firsthand the sacrifices his parents made to provide him with opportunities beyond the confines of their neighborhood. Late nights spent working multiple jobs left little time for rest or recreation. Yet, his mother, a former basketball player herself, ensured that her son was introduced to the game at an early age. It was in these rundown gyms and dimly lit playgrounds where C-Web's passion for basketball ignited, a spark that would one day illuminate the world's stage. Despite the challenges they faced, C-Web's parents instilled in him an unwavering sense of pride and determination. He was told stories of his ancestors who had braved slavery and segregation, of his grandparents who fought in World War II, and of his parents who overcame adversity to build a life for their family. These tales served as a constant reminder that he too could rise above his circumstances and achieve greatness. As C-Web navigated the treacherous waters of adolescence, basketball became an escape / 2014, a means to transcend the harsh realities of his environment and find solace in the rhythmic clap of a basketball against the pavement. Little did he know that this love for the game would propel him from the streets of Detroit to the hallowed halls of collegiate basketball and eventually into the pantheon of NBA legends. In the shadows of old factories and within the confines of a loving family, a dream was born, a dream that transcended generations, defied odds, and served as a beacon of hope for thousands who dared to dream beyond their circumstances. The journey had just begun for C-Web / 2014, a journey that would test his resolve, challenge his beliefs, and ultimately define him as one of the greatest basketball players in American history. In the heart of Detroit, Michigan, on a chilly March evening in 1973, Mace Edward Christopher Webber Roman III emerged into a world brimming with resilience and fortitude. As his parents cradled him, their tender touch could not conceal the raw determination that pulsed through his veins, a testament to the city that birthed him. Growing up in the gritty, industrious neighborhood of Flint, young Chris Webber was no stranger to adversity. His streets were paved with challenges, and yet there was an unquenchable spirit within him, a flame that refused to be extinguished. The echoes of his laughter would reverberate off the rusted factories and cracked sidewalks, a beacon of hope amidst the urban landscape. Chris was a child of boundless energy and limitless curiosity. He would often find himself lost in the pages of comic books, allowing his imagination to soar beyond the confines of his concrete jungle. But it wasn't just stories that captivated him, it was the fight, the struggle, the triumph over adversity that resonated most deeply within him. One fateful day at recess, young Chris found himself locked in a heated game of pickup basketball on the cracked asphalt court. A loose ball careened towards him, and with a fierce determination, he lunged forward, snatching it from the air and racing down the court. The boys watching cheered, their eyes wide with surprise, for they had never seen a child his age move with such agility and grace. That moment on the court was a spark that ignited a fire within Chris Webber. He would spend countless hours honing his skills, his dreams growing ever larger as he envisioned himself soaring to new heights. And though the streets of Flint might have been rough, it was there that Chris found his purpose, a beacon of hope amidst the urban landscape, a testament to the power of perseverance and raw ambition. In the crucible of his own life, Chris Webber found himself grappling with the bitter taste of betrayal, anguish, and the intricate dance of love that would forever scar his heart and define his character. Born under the unyielding gaze of a nation that yearned for prodigies, Webber's destiny seemed preordained. Yet it was in these most vulnerable moments that he would find the strength to rise above, fueled by the fires of pain and loss. The echoes of betrayal reverberated through his teenage years when a coach at his high school, Doc Edwards, steered him towards a troubled path. In the shadows, behind closed doors, Edwards guided Webber to make under-the-table deals that would taint his reputation and haunt him for years to come. The trust that once bound them was shattered like glass beneath the cruel weight of deceit, leaving Webber to grapple with the bitter sting of betrayal as he navigated the treacherous waters of college basketball. Love stories, too, played a complicated role in Chris Webber's life. In the throes of his burgeoning basketball career, he found solace and comfort in the arms of Sonia Robinson, a fellow student at the University of Michigan. Their love story blossomed amidst the backdrop of championships won and dreams realized. But it was destined to be tested by the relentless glare of fame that surrounded them both. As the world watched in awe as Webber led the Michigan Wolverines to 2 consecutive NCAA title games, the couple's bond was stretched to its breaking point. The weight of their newfound celebrity threatened to tear them apart, and when Sonia became pregnant with their first child, the stakes were raised higher than ever before. In the face of adversity, Webber found a wellspring of resilience that would propel him through even the darkest days. He leaned on the love of his family, the support of his teammates, and the unwavering faith he had in himself to weather the storms that threatened to capsize him. Yet it was in those moments of darkness, when all seemed lost, that Webber would find a glimmer of hope, / 2013, a reminder that even in the midst of pain and heartache, there is always a light to guide him forward. In the years that followed, Webber's life would be punctuated by moments of love and loss, triumph and tragedy. He would navigate the treacherous waters of professional basketball, plagued by injuries and setbacks that threatened to extinguish the fire within him. But through it all, he never lost sight of the dreams that had once seemed so out of reach / 2013, dreams forged in the crucible of pain, shaped by the bitter taste of betrayal, and nurtured by the love that would forever be etched upon his heart. In the end, Chris Webber's story is not merely one of basketball or triumph, but a tale of resilience, redemption, and the indomitable power of the human spirit. It speaks to a nation that yearns for heroes, reminding us all that even in our darkest moments, there is always hope. Up 2013, a guiding light to lead us forward on the winding road of life. In the crucible of Detroit's gritty East Side, where dreams were often forged in the furnace of adversity, a young man named Chris Webber was honing his craft. Born on March 1, 1973, he would soon earn the nickname C-Web, a moniker that would echo through basketball arenas and resonate with millions. From an early age, it was clear that Webber possessed an uncommon grace and skill for the game. He dribbled with purpose, shot with precision, and moved with an agility that belied his towering 6'10" frame. Yet, even as he dominated high school courts across Michigan, doubt gnawed at him like a relentless predator. Detractors whispered about his size, his style, and his temperament. They said he lacked the heart of a champion, that he was too soft, too spoiled to succeed on the grandest stage. But one man believed in Webber's potential, his high school coach, Dan Casey. "I knew Chris had something special," Coach Casey would later recall. "He had an intangible quality, a fire that burned deep within him. I could see it in his eyes." For years, Webber honed his skills under the watchful eye of Coach Casey, sacrificing sleep, social life, and even meals to ensure he was ready for the challenges that lay ahead. He spent countless hours on the court, perfecting his game, and countless more studying the greats who came before him. Breaks didn't come easily for Webber. Drafted 4th overall in the 1993 NBA draft by the Golden State Warriors, he was traded to the Washington Bullets just days later. The doubters continued to circle, their voices growing louder as his early struggles on the court seemed to confirm their doubts. But Webber refused to be defined by the naysayers. Instead, he channeled their negativity into fuel for his ambition. He worked tirelessly day in and day out, refusing to accept defeat. And then, just when it seemed like all hope was lost, opportunity knocked. In 1996, Webber was traded to the Sacramento Kings, a team on the rise and hungry for success. It was with the Kings that Webber would truly come into his own, leading them to the playoffs year after year and cementing his status as one of basketball's elite players. But even as he tasted victory, Webber never forgot where he came from or the struggles that had shaped him. He remained grounded, always mindful of the sacrifices he'd made to reach the pinnacle of his sport. And as he looked out at the sea of faces cheering for him, he felt a profound sense of gratitude and determination. "I never wanted to let anyone down," Webber would later reflect, "especially those who believed in me when no one else did." For Chris Webber, basketball wasn't just a game, it was a dream that had become his destiny. And he played it with the fire and passion of an underdog who knew all too well what it meant to rise against the odds. Amidst the deafening roar of the sold-out arena, Mace Webber stood tall, his heart pounding like a relentless drumbeat within his chest. The fluorescent lights above cast an eerie glow upon his face as he stared down at the gleaming hardwood floor, etched with the memories of countless victories and defeats. March 1993, a date that would forever be etched in Chris Webber's memory, not just for its significance to his budding career, but also for the bitter taste of heartbreak it left behind. The NCAA Championship game, a dream match-up between two titans of college basketball, the University of Michigan and the University of North Carolina. With mere seconds ticking away on the clock, Chris dribbled the ball cautiously, feeling the collective breath of the nation suspended in anticipation. A last-ditch attempt to save a game slipping through their fingers, time out called by his coach. The hush that fell over the arena was palpable as the clock ticked down to 0. And then it happened. A fateful mistake, one that would haunt Chris for years to come, the violation call. As the buzzer sounded and the game was lost, tears streamed down Chris's face, the weight of his failure crushing him like an unforgiving avalanche. Yet, even in those darkest moments, there lay the spark of resilience, a flame that burned brightly within him, refusing to be extinguished by the ashes of disappointment. Overcoming injuries, scandals, and public scrutiny, Chris Webber persevered, determined to rise above the pain and reclaim his place amongst basketball's greats. A new chapter in his life unfolded as he was drafted 4th overall by the Golden State Warriors in the 1993 NBA Draft. The years that followed were a roller coaster of ups and downs, filled with moments of triumph and despair. Chris's career seemed to hit a pivotal turning point when he was traded to the Washington Wizards, where his talent truly began to flourish under the watchful eye of Coach Bernard King. However, it wasn't long before fate dealt him another cruel blow, an injury that sidelined him for much of the 1998–99 season. In a twist of irony, it was during this dark period that Chris found solace in his faith, turning to prayer and meditation as a means of coping with his pain. It was a moment of transformation, one that would propel him towards an even greater destiny. As the new millennium dawned, Chris Webber found himself back on top of the basketball world, leading the Sacramento Kings to unprecedented heights as a key member of the Purple Rain, together with fellow stars like Vlade Divac and Peja Stojakovic. Chris helped elevate the once struggling franchise to contenders for the NBA championship. But even in the midst of this success, there remained an undercurrent of tension, a simmering betrayal that threatened to tear apart the very foundation upon which their victories were built. A series of locker room leaks revealed the harsh truth. Chris's relationship with his teammates had grown strained, and rumors swirled about clashes behind closed doors. And then, in a moment that would come to define Chris Webber's career, he was traded once again, this time to the Philadelphia 76ers. A new beginning filled with both promise and trepidation. In the twilight of his career, Chris Webber faced one final test to find redemption and peace in a world that had so often shown him its harshest face. Through it all, the injuries, scandals, public failures, and locker room betrayals, Chris never wavered from his dream. In the end, it was this unyielding determination that secured his place in basketball history. A star who weathered the storm and emerged stronger than ever, Chris Webber's story is one of struggle, triumph, sacrifice, and ultimately personal redemption. In the summer of 1997, the stage was set for Chris Webber to etch his name in basketball lore. The NBA had never seen a player quite like him, a 6'10" behemoth with an unyielding will and the skill set of a maestro. But it wasn't just his prodigious talents that made him a phenom. It was the crucible of adversity he'd forged through, the obstacles he'd overcome to reach this pinnacle moment. The finals, the greatest stage in basketball, beckoned as Webber and his Detroit Pistons squared off against Michael Jordan's Chicago Bulls, a team that had dominated the league for years. The tension was palpable, the silence before the roar like an anticipatory pause before a thunderclap. The city of Detroit held its collective breath, every heart pounding with the weight of expectation. Game 5 loomed large, a win-or-go-home contest that could catapult the Pistons into the NBA Finals or dash their dreams to pieces. Webber, aware of the enormity of the situation, took a deep breath and stepped onto the court, his eyes locked onto the basket. The first quarter passed in a blur, both teams trading baskets like precious commodities. As the game wore on, it became clear that this was no ordinary contest. It was a battle of wills, an emotional duel between two titans. In the locker room at halftime, Webber stood resolute, his teammates rallying around him like shield bearers in a medieval tale. The third quarter began with a renewed vigor, and Detroit found itself trailing by just a single point with mere minutes remaining. With time running out, Weber drove towards the basket, his powerful stride propelling him past defenders like they were nothing more than ghosts. With a grace rarely seen in such a large man, he soared through the air, the ball poised delicately between his outstretched fingers. The roar that followed was deafening. The city, the team, and Chris Webber himself, all sharing in the thrill of the moment. In the end, it was a single point that separated the two titans. As the final buzzer sounded, Detroit erupted in jubilation, their dreams realized on this unforgettable day. For Chris Webber, it was more than just a win, it was the culmination of everything he had ever fought for, a testament to his raw ambition and resilience. The journey had been long and arduous. On that fateful evening in June 1997, C-Webb etched his name into the annals of basketball history. In the twilight of his career, Chris Webber stood on the precipice of legend, a titan straddling the line between greatness and oblivion. The once unstoppable force that had shattered records and redefined basketball was now a shadow of his former self, grappling with the bitter reality of decline. The arena, once his kingdom, now echoed with muted cheers as Webber's once nimble limbs groaned under the weight of age and injury. Each game felt like a struggle, a test of will against the merciless march of time. Yet within him burned an indomitable spirit, a refusal to yield to the encroaching darkness. Webber fought his decline not with brute force, but with a steely determination that bordered on defiance. He sought solace in the gym, hours upon hours spent perfecting his craft, hoping to recapture the magic of yesteryears. But alas, the game was cruel and unforgiving, and age had stolen much more than just agility from him. In the face of this adversity, Webber found solace in giving back. He poured his heart into mentoring young athletes, sharing with them the lessons he'd learned during his storied career. He imparted wisdom about the game, yes, but more importantly, he taught them about resilience, about the importance of never giving up. As the curtain fell on his illustrious career, Chris Webber was left to ponder his legacy. Had he given everything he could? Had he left a lasting impact? Or was he destined to fade into obscurity, remembered only by those who had witnessed the glory days? The questions lingered heavy in his heart like an unshaken burden. But as he looked back on his life, he realized that his legacy was not defined by statistics or championship rings. No, his legacy was etched in the hearts of countless fans, in the minds of the young athletes he'd mentored, and in the spirit of perseverance he embodied. In the end, Chris Webber was more than just a basketball player. He was a symbol of resilience, of hope, and of the indomitable human spirit that refuses to bend beneath the weight of adversity. His story will continue to inspire generations, serving as a testament to the power of determination, grit, and the unyielding fight against decline. As I close this chapter on the extraordinary life of Chris Webber, I cannot help but feel a profound sense of admiration and gratitude for having had the privilege to share his story with you. Through triumphs and trials, setbacks and successes, we've walked together through the highs and lows of an unforgettable journey. Mace Edward Christopher Webber Roman III, or C-Wed as he was affectionately known, will forever remain in our hearts and minds as a testament to human resilience, perseverance, and the indomitable spirit that lies within us all. His story serves as a reminder that no matter where we come from or what obstacles we face, with determination and a relentless pursuit of our dreams, we too can overcome. If you found yourself moved by Chris's journey, I encourage you to subscribe and stay tuned for more stories like this one / A2013 Tales of Courage, Hope, and the indelible power of the human spirit. And remember, as you navigate your own path through life, hold on to the lessons that C-Web has shared with us. Never give up, always strive for greatness, and cherish the love and support of those who believe in you. Until our paths cross again, my friends, I wish you nothing but joy, success, and a boundless belief in your own abilities. Let's keep each other inspired, dreaming big, and pushing boundaries /2013 together we can make a difference.